Hello and welcome to Travel Insights to Tokyo in the New Normal. This webinar is brought to you by Tokyo Metropolitan Government and Tokyo Convention and Visitor Bureau. My name is Dolores Semeraro, and for the past 15 years, I've been a hospitality speaker and a tourism marketing specialist across Asia, Europe, and Africa. Today, I will be your moderator. The past 20 months have seen most of international travel halting, and we've been missing the opportunity to feed that starving travel bug. Well, what a better place to satiate that craving than Tokyo. From natural attractions to a world-class gastronomical fare, Tokyo's unique culture makes this destination a multifaceted playground that offers something to anybody, from young to old. In December 2021, Reuters Plus Twitter poll saw 20,000 and over many thousands of voters selecting Tokyo cleanness and vast spaces as the biggest draw towards the destination into the new normal. Today, with our brilliant panelists, we're going to find out more about what makes what Tokyo has to offer and why Tokyo is the most ideal destination for your stress-free holiday. Before we start, allow me to remind everyone in the audience to please share your questions and put them in the Q&A box, and we will be picking them up at the end of the conversation and share them with the panelists so that we can hear their insights to your answers. Now, let me introduce you to my brilliant panelists and guest speakers today. I'm honored to have Carmen Roberts, travel writer and journalist at the BBC The Travel Show. Mr. Andrew De Britto, Regional Vice President and General Manager of the Four Seasons Hotel Tokyo Otemachi. Welcome. Chef Fumio Yonezawa, former executive chef of the Bern Restaurant, Tokyo. So welcome, everyone. I'm very pleased to have you all, and I look forward to an exciting conversation. Let's dive straight into it. We are here to speak about Tokyo and travel insights to this wonderful destination. Over the past 20 months, Tokyo has been working hard to embrace the needs of today's travelers without compromising its identity, actually strengthening its legacy. And let's speak about these 20 plus months that we all lived through. Carmen, how was living throughout the pandemic in Tokyo like?
Well, I look back at the early days of the pandemic and think how fortunate I was to be in Tokyo. People in Tokyo, it was a standard to wear masks. It wasn't out of the ordinary. So people continued to wear masks and it became a lot more widespread. Also, that the standards of hygiene and cleanliness in Tokyo are really, really high. So you've got hand sanitizer in every doorway. I just felt safe, really. And given that there was such a high death rate around the world, which was so tragic, we weren't seeing those numbers in Tokyo and there weren't such harsh lockdowns. So I feel people got on with it, definitely shop hours were lessened and earlier closing times for restaurants, but everyone wore a mask, everyone sanitized their hands, washed their hands, and the standard of hygiene was really, really high. And I did feel safe being in Tokyo during those early days of the pandemic.
But with that, also one of the main attractions of the destinations that has been affected in a way throughout the pandemic has been the culinary scene. Tokyo culinary scene has been it's world class and known globally for being very eclectic and offering something to everyone, from the most budget solutions to the most extravagant one. And it will be interesting to know from Chef Fumio, what has changed in the culinary scene of Tokyo? What diners are looking for in the new normal when it comes to culinary scene in Tokyo? And how is the culinary heritage of the city responding to that?
I feel like since the new normal, I have noticed a few trends appealing. The one is the really like they're looking for the healthy, and then they're also like very focused on the cleanliness. I feel to be the food is the restaurant atmospheres, and the Japanese has one of the healthiest cuisine in the world, I feel, and especially like for the Japanese, the food. So we like really focus on ingredients. So like I try to like as simple as possible. So like what the people knows what you actually eating. So because the products is like nice and fresh. So like we really focus on the product. And the healthy means, like lots of like Japanese, the food is very simple, like it's not too oily. Like it's very like focused on the ingredients and cuisine.
I believe that now more than ever, travelers approaching international travel are looking for those healthy options, that they had a lot of time to reflect and perhaps change their dietary habits during the past 20, let's say 2 years. Personally, I embraced vegetarianism, so I became vegetarian throughout the lockdowns, and I feel that, like me, many other travelers that are approaching international travel are coming out with different expectations and different desires and priorities when it comes to approaching a brand new destination, perhaps for the first time. Travelers are now valuing safety, privacy, space. So these new priorities are definitely on top of the agenda of many hoteliers. And I would like to have Andrew's view on what do you think are the expectations of international travelers coming to Tokyo today? And on your side, how are you embracing them? What are you doing to respond to that?
Thank you so much. Health and safety norms have had a huge impact on how we live our lives, within the new normal, as well as, anybody who aspires to travel and to come to Tokyo. Travelers are seeking, normality and naturally a seamless and a safe travel experience, given naturally hoping that, the destination that they're going to would have zero or limited quarantine restrictions. But we know that's not going to be something that's going to be happening so soon. That being said, the number of challenges or the hoops that one have to go through, into getting to an airport and flying to a destination, and the effort that it takes, we believe that, travelers would take time traveling more meaningfully, right? Because time is luxury as we know it, and make travel really more thoughtful.
One of the points that you mentioned at the beginning was referring to the experiential expectations of international travelers. And I was actually just looking at the latest trends and surveys around the world from travelers that are expressing their desire to be more connected, sometimes not just to the Wi-Fi, but also to each other, to the destination, to what they can bring back. And this is a mindset of international travel that the hospitality industry is embracing and is actually facilitating with the use of technology without compromising on the human service aspects, which remains paramount in that, person-to-person experience and relationship that you build when you travel. And Carmen, I'm curious to know more about how has the city tourism face changed? How did Tokyo change during the Olympic Games in terms of tourism at the time where perhaps not many people could travel?
Yeah, it was very interesting. The fact that the games happened at all is just testimony to how resilient and how well organized Tokyo is. Because I was there during the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup, and the atmosphere, the sheer number of tourists that came, it was amazing. And I think a lot of people, particularly in the tourism industry, I'm sure Andrew will agree, and Fumio, that people were expecting these large, vast numbers for the games, the 2020 games, and that of course didn't happen. But the fact that Tokyo 2020 happened at all and happened without a huge major incident, it happened in a safe environment, is really testimony to how well Tokyo stood up to the challenge.
Personally, I was watching the games from my quarantine hotel room, and I had the two most wonderful week just watching every sort of sports that perhaps I wouldn't have time to go and catch up on that and that specific sport, and you really learn a lot. And what I really enjoyed by the broadcast of the games as a viewer, as part of the audience myself, was the fact that they were always managing to show the destination presence, and not just in terms of tourism attractions, but also in terms of people. And they were able to show that discipline, that order, and the feeling of we have it under control. One of the most awaited events in the world that always brings a lot of opportunities to the city, brings a lot of people to the city. And this was a specific time where many couldn't travel, yet the games came across as an event that was conducted in order, in safety for everyone, and you could see the joy through the people in their faces as well. Carmen, you and I met during the Olympic Games in Beijing in 2008, and what a difference between these two conductions. But that shows that over time, resilience in tourism is what pushed this destination forward.